see you have actually gone into two regions like the abdomen and the pelvis. And the abdomen and the pelvis, you have seen many organs. Like in the abdomen, you have gone through abdominal cavity specifically. You see that you have gone through the esophagus, or the entire GIT you can consider like a stomach, intestine, small and the large, duodenum, jejunum, ileum. Then in the large intestine is the cecum, appendix, ascending and transverse and descending colon. The associated glands like these, you have seen here the pancreas, the biliary system, the liver, and the spleen also. And you have seen in the posterior abdominal wall important structures like the kidney, because kidney is actually receiving almost 25% of the total cardiac output is being received here by the two kidneys. Blood vessels are there, and these blood vessels have these smooth muscles and they have to be regulated also. Not only this, but we have a smooth muscle tube that is called ureters. We have seen at the top of the kidney is the suprarenal glands, which has got a very important central portion whose name is the adrenal, we call it suprarenal medulla, the adrenal medulla. And then you have seen all these structures. When you went into the pelvis region, you have seen here the larger pelvis region above the pelvic diaphragm. It is the pelvic cavity proper, and below that is called the perineum. Though the perineum is in fact part of the true pelvis, which is having more somatic structures rather than visceral. Though we have got visceral also there, because the anal canal is lying there, so anal canal has got inner circular musculature which is forming the internal anal sphincter. This is a visceral by origin. It will be under control of your autonomic nerves. So below that it is more somatic as such, but is also a lot of visceral things which are present there. They will be all controlled by the system that is called the autonomic nervous system. And see, autonomic nervous system means this is a system which is not under your control. You can't control them, but it is the environment which is around that to which it is exposed. It will be automatically controlled, not automatically autonomous. It will be autonomic control will be there. It will be actually preparing you. Unknowingly, unconsciously, it will actually prepare you for that situation. And these situations are the two different types of situations you can say. One is called the flight and fright situation, emergency. One is the vegetative, I say one will be the resting situation, that is called the rest and digest. The situation of rest and digest and situation of the flight and fright. In these two situations, you are automatically adjusting your body from inside here without even your control. And that control is very, very rapid, you can say. Neurological, electrifying control, you can say. If anything is to be controlled here quickly in an electrifying manner, it should not be the hormonal, it should be neurological. Sometimes the things which in fact are being controlled are changed quickly. They are ordered by the neurological system, but the neurological system is short-lived. And this neurological system will actually give the cue to the hormones. So that means the hormones will in fact take some time to come into play. Like you see that angiotensin, aldosterone, you say renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system. Renin quick, angiotensin fast. I say renin very quick. Then angiotensin little slow, and aldosterone will be the last one. So that means the neurological and the hormonal can be controlled together. It should be actually be coordinated with each other. But we are discussing here the neurological structures. And the neurology means two systems are there. One which is actually preparing you for emergency, that is called the sympathetic part of the autonomic nervous system. And another is called the system which is in fact preparing you for rest, for the rest and digest in this system. That is called the parasympathetic nervous system, parallel to the sympathetic. Each system has its own neurotransmitters. At least these systems are there, and these systems, you call them the nervous system. These systems in fact will be a part of the system that you have already done. Like for example, if you have seen the spinal nerves, okay, this is the peripheral nervous system. Spinal nerves and cranial nerves, they are peripheral, and they are connected here to the central nervous system, two components, brain and spinal cord. Because in the nervous system, you don't have anything except the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Two things are there. And if the central nervous system is there, like for example, if you are actually discussing here central nervous system, we have got here brain. You see cerebrum. You see the cerebrum, parasympathetic nervous system is not present in the cerebrum. Actually, parasympathetic nervous system starts from your cerebrum. But we usually don't actually start it from cerebrum. But we should have some idea because you have already entered into the brain stem and other things in the central nervous system. And you are neuroanatomy, so your student should know that the things in fact are, because your GIT and all other things in fact are affected here, or they are modified according to your stress and other things also. So many things are actually like here. So this brain is there, and you have got here cerebrum, we have got encephalon, and from here starts your brain stem. You see midbrain, the pons, and cerebellum. I say medulla oblongata, and this is cerebellum. Cerebellum is almost exclusively related to your voluntary motor system. So I am actually giving you here a little bit. Okay, cerebellum is there, but it's nothing. It's never related to your autonomic nervous system. Never means it is never related to autonomic nervous system. It never affect your involuntary organs at all. So this means this will be actually here, and now there is a spinal cord. This is spinal cord. This is central nervous system. We don't have any other component except this. And when this is the central nervous system, then in the central nervous system you already know that from here starts now your nerve number 3, 4, then you see it is a 5, then 6, 7 and 8, then you see it is a 9, the 10, 11 and it is 12, and you already know here is 1 and 2 also. These are your 12 cranial nerves. This is the peripheral nervous system. And when you are actually bringing yourself here, you see that you have nerves here, like you see that 8 cervical nerves. You have seen here the 12 thoracic nerves, 5 lumbars, 5 sacral, and 1 coccygeal. So altogether you see you have got here 31 spinal nerves. 31 spinal nerves and 12 cranial nerves. Together you call it the peripheral nervous system. And this all together is central as well as peripheral. Together you call it nervous system simply. This is up to you. How you utilize this central and peripheral nervous systems. And you know already that this central and peripheral nervous system, you can use it as far as you see the two functions you are, in fact, you are putting these central and peripheral nervous system arrangement for the two important functions, motor and sensory. But you see, motor and sensory, we know that motor and sensory. But it's not just motor and sensory. Motor is again 2 types. Sensory is again 2 types. And if the motor is 2 types, means the one motor which is under your control. Under your control, it is, means who is controlling it? Nervous system. Which parts of the nervous system? Whatever is available to you. What is available to you? Central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Okay, use it. I will give you just one example. You are using it for using your voluntary, I say, somatic nervous system means your voluntary system, and voluntary system means through which organs you are using this voluntary system. Voluntary system which means skeletal muscles. You have to actually ask the skeletal muscles to work there, because this is the only thing which you are obeying your order. From nervous point of view, only one population of the tissue is actually obeying your order, and this is skeletal muscle. And skeletal muscles means nervous system is ordering them. Which part of nervous system? Both of them. Order is issued by central nervous system, is being carried by peripheral nervous system. System is same. System is just one. We don't have separate system for 2 different motor activities. System is same. Means, for example, if I am giving you example here, central nervous system, you are giving some somatic activity, for example. So your neuron is sitting inside, cell body is lying here, and your fibers are coming outside here. Incidentally, motor root of your spinal nerve, for example. And this motor root of your spinal nerve is coming out of your intervertebral foramen, and is now it is targeting your skeletal muscle. He is ordering, he is doing. So you have used just central nervous system, or you have used the peripheral also, because it was available to you. You have done it, okay, good thing. But main thing here is that just this is enough, Are there a sensory also? So that means the sensory will be also, sensory starts from here, from surface, for example, receptor. You have already seen here, like this. Is entering here, cell body is lying in the dorsal root ganglion, and now it is entering inside and it is released here. This is sensory. Which sensory? The sensory which is coming from the surface, somatic, about which consciously you know everything. This is called somatic. Means this is somatic motor, this is somatic sensory. The somatic motor is using central nervous system as well as peripheral. The somatic sensory system, it is using the peripheral as well as central. Will it remain here or it will go up also? Okay, it will use the brain as well. Because you know that the sensory modalities will not stay here to the spinal cord, they will be actually relayed higher up to the thalamus at least, and the third order neuron will go to the cerebral cortex. Means this will be here. And your motor activity which is initiating actually here, in this case from the spinal cord, really it is the spinal cord, or this is actually being controlled by the higher centers. And this is here. But at least one thing is quite clear, that means your nervous system which is controlling your voluntary activity or sensory everything, it is actually central and peripheral nervous system is already available to us. But you know that you don't have the sensory which I am actually showing you. You have another type of sensory also. This is called somatic sensory, which is coming from surface and other things here. But the one which is already present here coming from the viscera. Visceral organs. Viscera doesn't mean from a cavity. Viscera means from your deeper areas also. This is coming from below. For example, from the receptors within your walls of your stomach, in the heart, everywhere, in your carotid body, carotid sinus. These are the visceral signals. What is happening inside your body unconsciously, unknowingly, it is being regulated. Your blood sugar level is high or low, it will be regulated by itself. You are not regulating it. Your blood pressure is more or less within physiologic limit, it will be regulated immediately. Understand? So this is your temperature high or more. If you are actually running, you see, you will put your thermometer, it will be 98.6. If you are running actually 3 kilometers, you see your body is hot and your temperature will be 98.6. Because it is being regulated inside. This is visceral activity which is being actually carried out here. Which type of activity? The signals are going here into your central nervous system, but these are the visceral signals. This is visceral sensory areas. Visceral sensory means from viscera these things are going. If viscera these things are going means, for example, if I am actually showing you here your stomach here, so from here the sensory signals are going, they are actually going here like this here. Somehow they will reach also to the spinal cord. Understand? These are the sensory signals, are the sensory innervation of your viscera. Here, incidentally, it is from stomach, for example. But from stomach it will actually travel. I will tell you how they will be traveling. Traveling through what? Through peripheral nervous system until it will reach the central nervous system. But it is reaching where? The spinal cord. And from spinal cord it should go to the higher centers, and now you feel that some type of a perception. You may have some discomfort, you may have some even strain, you may have some pain here in the region. You will be noticing something, that something bad is happening in my viscera. Though sometimes it is actually not just the pain, it should be discomfort, sometimes you should be sweating even. But you will feel that something bad is happening inside. Not necessarily pain. This is perception, some notice. Even sometimes you can feel vibration type of thing also. Sometimes you can see some pressure only. Even something is actually being damaged so much that the tissue is dying even. And sometimes it has been declared dead even tissue. You just feel heaviness only. It's not possible here in the surface. The thing is that a piece of your myocardium has undergone, you see, a sudden cut of blood supply. Necrotic tissue, it has gone into the necrosis, infarction. You feel just heaviness. Some people feel just a clenching type of a pain here. They will actually put their fist like here, you see that here is like gripping type of clenching, gripping type of a pain. Sweating starts, like even sometimes vomiting starts. Not as such pain. So visceral sensations are like this. But this is not called visceral, but it's just visceral sensations are visceral motor activities are there also. And visceral motor activity means here we have got 3 populations, you say 3 clients upon which the visceral activity is issuing the orders, and it needs that order should be obeyed. Though you don't know that what is happening inside. Only you have studied that these things are happening. And sometimes you notice also. You are running here, your heartbeat is increasing here. You know that something has happened, but you haven't actually been ordered them to increase your heart rate. You have created that environment, basically. And you will say that you stop, this is not 170 is not too much, I need at 162, it will not actually obey you. It will obey only the environment inside. So this is what we call here the autonomic. We call this system the autonomic, means three categories of the populations are there which obey the order of this system. This motor system. Which motor? Visceral motor system. Visceral motor system means visceral motor system, and the visceral motor system will use the same central nervous system and will use mostly the same peripheral nervous system. Central and peripheral is not different. House is same. You will remain, you are the owner, you will actually live in the same house. Even your servant will also live in the same house, though in the separate room, in the servant quarter though, but this will be part of your house. For this purpose, government will not offer you that on the road you will make here for central nervous system same, even peripheral will be same also. Same rules will apply on that servant also. And that system, it is called the autonomic nervous system. And the autonomic system will use the same central nervous system, will use mostly the same peripheral nervous system also. Means which nerves? Same nerves. And obviously in peripheral nervous system what you have? You have mostly these nerves. Though peripheral nervous system doesn't mean that it will be rather too simplified that we have just these nerves and we have got some more peripheral nervous system elements also. But that will use peripheral nervous system, and with same peripheral, same central nervous system it will use until your visceral motor system will go to those areas where this peripheral nervous system is not available. Because your peripheral nervous system means what? Your spinal nerves. And your spinal nerves will go into the cavity or will go to the surface. But your peripheral nervous system, your autonomic nervous system, whose motor activity wants to control your stomach, in the stomach your spinal nerve is not going, then they will be compelled to form now, for example, they will be forced to form their own nerves. Only when already available peripheral regular system is not available, which is being used by somatic motor system, if autonomic motor system is saying that I am actually running upon these nerves, but when these nerves are not going to that area, then you have to leave and form your own nerves. Form your own peripheral nervous system. That will be offshoot of these also. But you see that then and then you will actually form them. In the stomach and colon, in the stomach, in the liver and other things, spinal nerves are not going. And if spinal nerves are not going, then you have to form your own nerves. Only then. Otherwise not. And this is this characteristic feature doesn't just apply on sympathetic, but that will apply on parasympathetic also. Means parasympathetic nervous system at the areas, especially when it will go into the cavities where your somatic nervous system peripheral part is not present, then they will form their own nerves there. Number one. Another will be like motor system, this red color which I am showing you here. This is somatic motor and targeting is skeletal muscle. Cell body is lying here and its axon bundle is going here and bombarding now your skeletal muscle nerve fibers. Means no interruption in between. This system is a single neuron system, you can say. Nothing will be intervening. But in your autonomic, is totally, you can say it will be radically different. Different in the sense that this system is a double neuron system. Double neuron system means one neuron will actually be coming out of your central. One will come out of your central nervous system, which will start from here, and either immediately or little later it will stop. I mean, nothing will stop like this. It will hand over its signals or stimuli to next order of neuron, and which should actually be standing outside. And you will actually relay the neurotransmitter to him, and this will be the responsibility of the second neuron to actually carry the signals here to the viscera. So this will be, so that means one neuron which I am actually showing you, the first neuron, it must be connected to the central nervous system. But the second neuron should be present outside the central nervous system. Means the second neuron will be a part of now the peripheral nervous system. This time the peripheral nervous system is not just your spinal nerve or not just your cranial nerves and spinal nerves, but this is the cell body collections outside also regarding your autonomic nervous system. You call them ganglia. This is called the ganglion. Which ganglion? Actually ganglion was this also. But this ganglion was sensory. This is sensory ganglion. Sensory root ganglion. Incidentally on the posterior root, but not always it will be on the posterior root. In the nerves, cranial nerves, we don't have posterior roots. And here also we have got, if it is the sensory, here will be also the same type of a ganglion is there. Not in the fourth, I'm sorry, this will be in the fifth, for example. If I'm saying, the fifth is a very big sensory nerve. So here pseudo-unipolar neurons are there. Here you can call, you can't actually call them posterior root ganglion. Here you call them sensory root ganglion. So better word is, generalized word is sensory root ganglion. Posterior root only is word used in this spinal nerves. Dorsal root ganglion, posterior root ganglion. Generalized term is sensory root ganglion. So if this is actually like here, so you have now this neuron group which are, so it will be, so this ganglion is called autonomic ganglion. No, not sympathetic, it can be parasympathetic also. It is autonomic, one thing is quite clear. So the one thing is quite clear means this ganglion, incidentally, if it is a central nervous, this is sympathetic nervous system, you call this ganglion as a sympathetic ganglion. But if it is, for example, parasympathetic nervous system, then you will call it parasympathetic ganglion. This is parasympathetic, this is sympathetic incidentally, okay. But this can be even parasympathetic also. Sympathetic or parasympathetic, characteristic features are same. Like this. So if I'm showing you this is parasympathetic, for example, then this should be my parasympathetic ganglion. Then this neuron whose cell body is lying inside the central nervous system should be called as the periganglion. But the one which is actually starting from the ganglion onward up to the target organ, this should be called as the postganglionic. The preganglionic, postganglionic. And in the ganglion, what is happening? Synapse. That's why the preganglionic can be called as presynaptic and postganglionic can be called as the postsynaptic. But usually we call them preganglionic and postganglionic. The preganglionic, because their axons have actually the myelin sheath around them. That's why they look white color. That's why we call them white rami communicants. But the postganglionic, they do not have the white myelin sheath here. That's why they don't look white. That's why we call them gray. Actually, they don't look gray either. But still, because they don't look white, that's why we call them gray. Actually, we should call something. If it's not white, it should be black. But they are not black. But at least they are gray. So we call them gray rami communicants. We call them gray rami communicants. And it's the gray rami communicants endings where the neurotransmitter is coming. Here is lying your effector organ. Effector organ means it should be smooth muscle, it should be cardiac muscle, it should be exocrine glands. Here, because in the abdomen and in the pelvis, because you are not actually having the heart here, means cardiac thing is not here. So two things actually you are focusing. The smooth muscle and the glands. So it is the smooth muscle and the glands. In emergency, what should actually happen? Who should actually dominate? You see that two systems are working together. You see it is the autonomic nervous system. Who will win the race? Actually, in most of the organs, both the systems are present. But one system is in fact in order, means one is in fact is working and another will be dormant. Understand? So one system is working. In emergency, whatever, if you require some emergency work here, for example, your peristaltic activity should, for example, should be suppressed here. Your glandular activity should suppress, but your sphincter should be tightly closed. Emergency. In that system, you need sympathetic mode. Not just sympathetic mode, but parallel also. You should actually switch off because your two systems are not running together. If you are flexing, you just don't flex. You relax your extensors also. And this work is being done. Your brain is giving the order of the flexion here. But your cerebellum knows that at the time when the master is giving the order of flexing, my work is that I should actually be giving tone to the flexors and should switch off the tone of your extensors also. Means extensors are also working, but working by sleeping. Means they are also doing something, they are responding. They are what responding? They are actually sleeping. They need to sleep actually to give permission to the flexor to work. Otherwise, if they are also working, you can see that it should be antagonized. Means you are using the energy both sides and work is not happening here. You see that something is happening here, one is pulling and another is pushing. You see that work is not happening. There are two energies are being utilized here, but nature is actually giving. So one thing is there. But sometimes both systems are working. You see that when both systems are working, for example, sometimes you are giving some drugs where the both systems work together. When the both systems work together, then what will be the dominant effect? Dominant effect will be which system dominantly is present in the system, in your organ. Because both the systems are not present in an equal intensity, in equal, say, receptors will be equal in both. That means in your heart is not present sympathetic, parasympathetic is an equal amount. If you are stimulating both of them, GIT, if you are stimulating both of them, sympathetic and parasympathetic will dominate. Because in your GIT, in your urinary bladder, it is the parasympathetic nervous system's receptors which are lying more in your GIT. So that means if you are stimulating both of them, who will prevail now? Parasympathetic will prevail. Otherwise, you are actually stimulating both of them. But normally in nature, when it's doing some emergency work, the resting work is always suppressed. The two things are actually working together. So means each system you know that it is working, coordinating, in a coordination. So if the work is coordinating means you see that the sympathetic nervous system, abdomen from where you have to use the same sympathetic nervous system means you have to use the same central nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system in your abdomen and your pelvis. Sympathetic nervous system should have preganglionic, should have postganglionic, should have the ganglion outside also. Means these things are there or already present there. Means sympathetic nervous system is present. You say, sir, okay, sympathetic nervous system, I have the central nervous system, I have the brain, I have the spinal cord. Which parts of the central nervous system are should utilize for my preganglionic fibers? You will utilize only spinal cord's middle portion only. Middle portion means if you have got 30 segments of spinal cord, though you have 31, if you have 30 segments of spinal cord, you will just use middle 14 only. Middle 14 only means upper 8 you will not use and lower 8 you will not. You see how much middle it is. Now this is symmetry of this. If you like just ignore just a coccyx, for example, coccygeal segment, your nature will tell you that middle 14 segments. In the entire universe, preganglionic center is just the middle 14 segments. No other, not even above, even forget about the brain. Never in the brain, never in the spinal cord upper segments, middle 14 J's and never in the lower 8. Means brain, you will just ignore brain, in spinal cord 30 segments, middle 14 only. This is the center of your sympathetic activity. And you can imagine that the center of your sympathetic activity, you say, sir, okay, it is a thoracic number, that means my sympathetic activity will just work in that region. No, it will act on entire cavities, just cavities, even your limbs also. It is so widespread system. Sympathetic system is a widespread system. Even no part of your body, in fact, will be left unspared. I say left spared here if you are actually using this system. Totally, it is actually firing the entire body. So widespread system is there. This is widespread, but its preganglionic centers are only 14. That means if I am actually showing you here, okay, we remove this now, and I am showing you here the preganglionic areas. And you already know that we are not in fact giving transverse section of the spinal cord. You know already it is motor system, that means it should come from anterior horn. Because we have just two horns. Forget about the lateral horn. Lateral horn is not a horn as such. Lateral horn is a piece of anterior and a piece of the posterior. Together in between, that's why we call them lateral horn. So this will be something that is called the anterior horn. This is coming from anterior horn. And we have already told you that anterior horn is just 1/4, very close to the sulcus limiters. We have got these cell body collections. And the cell body collections, they are present there. They are present in this area. You can say, okay, this is 8 cervical, leave them. This is now starting from T1 up to here, T12, and now we have got here 2 lumbars also. Maximum, this one. Sometimes there is 3 also, but you see 8. 12 thoracic, 2 lumbars means 14. Means 14 means what is remaining below? 3 lumbar, 5 sacral. Means 8 below remaining and 8 above segments. Means above 8 you cut here, below 8 you cut your middle 14 pieces of your middle 14 segments of your spinal cord if you will ignore coccyx. Coccygeal nerve. So this will be actually like here, this here. And from here the cell bodies are lying there. And cell bodies from where? From lateral horn, for example. So for lateral horn of this T1, this T2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and this L1, 8. From here the bundles will come out. If these bundles will come out, you will see this is it. So bundles come out. So these bundles will utilize what? They will come out alone, or they will be now riding upon the roots which are already available. The peripheral nervous system, which portion is actually coming out here? Anterior root of the spinal nerve, motor root. I would say the motor root is actually carrying the mass. Voluntary fibers, okay. Voluntary fibers, you will just ride upon them, no problem. So that means both will be running together. But I am giving you rate, this is actually the visceral. You call them general visceral efferent fibers. Which already are present? General somatic efferent. The general somatic efferent target should be skeletal muscles. But my target of these neurons will be the glands and skeletal, I say smooth muscles, and obviously heart also. So they are coming out. If they are coming out, so here coming. But if they are coming out, what will be there? Intervertebral foramen. So they will coming out of intervertebral foramen. But in the intervertebral foramen, they will mix with the sensory fibers also. Okay. We are not taking concern with them. Okay, if no problem. In our bus, if for example, female are actually coming out, so we have no problem. So there is sensory fiber. Which sensory? Sensory, visceral as well as somatic. And which nerve is coming out? But you will just target your own visceral efferent fibers. This is sympathetic, which I am telling you. Pre or post ganglion? Pre-ganglion. If they are actually coming out like here, so they will come out. Along with what? Alone or with the nerve? This time with the root, but later on with the mixed nerves. Because nerves have joined together. And later on with the mixed nerve here, when they come out, you see that outside, where they should go, you know that the nerves, they are actually coming out, and these nerves are splitting into the two rami now. If they are splitting into the two rami, so my preganglionic fibers should in fact split into the two groups now. One should go with the anterior ramus, one should go with the posterior ramus. Why they are actually going with the anterior posterior rami? Because anterior and posterior rami will carry them to your posterior body wall, and the anterior rami will form the plexus, will carry them to your limbs. But you know that if they are actually doing the same way, and they are splitting up into two groups like anterior and posterior rami, they will be preganglionic, or still they will be postganglionic, or they will still be preganglionic. But the preganglionic, if they will go here, there is no ganglion available here where they can relay. Mean they should actually be coming like this, or they should relay into the ganglion first. So the ganglion will be offered to them just outside the intervertebral foramen. If the ganglion will be offered to them just outside the intervertebral foramen, so here is lying my ganglion. Outside what? Outside your T1 nerve. Means where? The T1 nerve which is lying at the lower part of your T1 vertebra, or we can say between T1 and the T2. So it is present here. Outside there is a ganglion. And in the ganglion, you should relay now. Your preganglionic course is over. You get my point? So this is preganglionic course is over, and now this is the preganglionic fibers, they are now relaying. Yeah. This is one nerve I am actually telling you. Same thing will happen here in your other nerves also. For example, which nerve? For example, in last nerve, for example, in L2 also. So this will also be like this. And from here what will happen? The postganglionic fibers, now they can come out here, and they will go where? They will go to the, not to the viscera. They will go with the same nerve, whose root they have joined actually before. Means they will go not to the viscera, but they will go to the spinal nerve to reach your surface. If they are going to the posterior rami, for example, they will go to the backside here. If they will enter into your anterior rami, they will go here to form the plexuses. Means in your plexuses, they are not just normal sensory motor fibers who are present in the plexus. Autonomic fibers were also present in the plexus. Your ulnar and radial nerves are not without autonomic nerves. If the sweating is here, this is because of your branches of ulnar, median, and other nerves here. So these fibers are going into the cavity, or these fibers are going along with the spinal nerves now. Means they are not going to the cavity. So how many such nerves will be having sympathetic fibers? 14 nerves. What is the 14 nerves will be having this? Means your neck and upper limb and your lower limb will not have the sympathetic fibers. Because your lower limb is formed here from the sacral and the lower lumbars, and your cervical is actually be forming here. So this, your brachial plexus is formed from the lower cervical here. But this is a T1. T1 is hardly okay, some contribution. But your C5, C6, C7 here, that means they do not have sympathetic fibers. They do have sympathetic fibers. Which is that they do have, but in their house there is no preganglionic. If I am saying 8 spinal nerves, 8 cervical spinal nerves, will they have sympathetic or not? They should have sympathetic, because your upper limb, your neck, even your head and neck and brain has the sympathetic supply. But you say, sir, if it's having my top centers are up to the T1. Above T1, I don't have any source. Okay, from this you have to get the help, get the assistance from this help. But how you will see? You will see that here, in this case, because these ganglia are there, how many such ganglia? You see there 14 ganglia. How many? 14 ganglia. So it should be having 14 ganglia, but it should have a 14 ganglia like here, for example. But we don't have 14 ganglia here. Here I have 8 more, and down I have 8 more also. It says that if I am giving 8 here and 8 here, but they are from that 8, okay, you make it 8 more. For example, which one? L3, L4, L5, S1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 5, and etc. This means what will be present in them? Just they will be ganglia, or there should be present postganglionic neurons inside them also. Okay, postganglionic neurons inside them. Okay, going here. Now your L3 now is also having autonomic fibers or not? Okay, this will also have like this. And just we have just this, or we have 8 here more also. Here basically we have 3, which is the fusion of those 8. The top 4 they are fused together to form very big up. The next 2, not stellate. Stellate is the last one. The top one, this is very big, this is called the superior cervical ganglion, means it is the fusion of how many? 4 together. And then next 2 and the last 2. And the 2 will join with the T1 to form stellate. This is stellate. Cervicothoracic ganglion we call. Last 2 cervicals together to form inferior cervical ganglion, and with the T1 when it joins, it will form star-like ganglion, we call them stellate ganglion. This is here. So from here, how many bundles should come from this now? Because physically, anatomically, it will looks 1, but it looks 1 only, or it's having a confusion. This is actually having the fusion of the 4 now. So how many bundles should come? 4 bundles. And these 4 bundles should run with what? So the C1, C2, C3, C4. And how many bundles should come from the second one? 2. They run with what? 5, 6. And this one will run with 7, 8. Now you can say postganglionic fibers are running with the all 30 nerves or not. But out of these 30 nerves, the 14 has got inside their house, they have a supply, but the upper 8 and lower 8 do not have a supply from their house. Why? Because preganglionic centers are not present inside. If they are not present inside, means your house has something. Your house has all electrical connections, but the Vabda is not giving you the connection from outside. Means everything is decorated, nicely placed here, but the thing is that the exit is not coming. So you need the preganglionic supply from transformer up to your house meter. Then maybe postganglionic supply should run. Means you have got preganglionic supply very nicely designed here, but you don't have the connection from outside. Means you don't have a connection from this. If you are not having a connection from this, you should actually be borrowing the things from the neighbors. Which neighbors? How many total they are empty here? 8 above empty and 8 below empty. So you will actually get the connections from 4 segments from here. Upper 8 where the house is empty, you need the connections from the upper 4 of the available 14. And below we have got the 8 empty here, you will get again 4 connections here. So 4 segments help from the available middle 14. Means upper 4 segments for not, this upper 4 segments will not just be available for their own 4 ganglia, but most of them they will actually be passing through them and will go up here and will actually relay into the upper ganglia whose house was not having the periganglionic. And if this is happening, always remember T1 is very, very important. Because T1's main target will be going into your T1, its own T1, it will give actually 10% fibers here, periganglionic relay there, so that your T1 nerve should also be getting the connection. But its 90% fibers will actually rise up here, and when they rise up, their target will be not the inferior, not the middle, but superior cervical. So that it should actually be innervating what? Upper 4 cervical nerves. But the upper 4 cervical nerves will be called periganglionic. They are postganglionic nerves. Means these postganglionic neurons, these postganglionic nerves should have a periganglionic from their own house or from T1? It's from T1. And they are going with what? They are going with their nerves. But if they are going with the nerves, I told you that here is going with the nerves, no doubt. But how much of the supply is going to the higher ganglion? This higher ganglion, and the next will go to the next ganglion, next will go to the next. I am giving you just one example. Because I have how many centers through which I am getting the assistance? 4. From T1, T2, T3, T4. But T1 has the more supply to the upper houses, The next one will be having more supply to the middle houses, and the next one will be having for the lower houses. But when this upper one is getting the supply to the upper house, for example, 4 ganglia combination, and they are actually giving current to what? To the postganglionic fibers going to the 4 nerves, right? How many fibers are going and rising up here? 90%. Out of this 90%, make it here. Out of this 90%, just you can say 30% fibers are giving connection to your these 4 nerves. Okay, consider 40% is giving the connection to your these 4 nerves. So how many fibers still are remaining? 50% is still are remaining. Where they should go? Out of this 50%, half of the fibers, they will now come down there and will target in the heart. These fibers, you see that these ganglia, from these ganglia, how many fibers? Okay, 90% fibers leave now. Say 90% fibers they have given their current. To what? To post ganglionic fibers of superior cervical ganglion. Focus, it is very important. This will be here to your superior cervical ganglia. 90% finished. Now target, you see the focus now. Superior cervical ganglions, 100 fibers. 100%. Out of this 100% fibers of the superior cervical ganglion, 40% they are making 4 bundles. And they will run with what?
Nerves.
4 nerves. How many postganglionic neurons are still waiting? 50%. 60%.
60%. 40.
I am discussing
60%.
the ganglion itself. 60%. Out of this 60%, consider just 20% fibers will make here a bundle and they are descending down. 3 are post. These are cardiac nerves. They will not just be cardiac, they will be supplying the lungs also. Cardiopulmonary nerves. And this will not happen just with the superior cervical, this will happen with your middle as well as inferior. So 1 nerve is coming and 3 are coming. 3 are 6. 3 will come from this side. Heart is 1. I will not say that 3 are coming to the right heart and 3 are coming to the left heart. 6 will shoot here and will be bombarding your heart. 6 nerves are coming and they are 3 are post. All 6 post. You see that the postganglionic fibers here. But how many of them? 20%. How much is remaining? 40 will jump up. From here, and similarly from here also, from here. I am giving just one example because we will not actually mix all these two things together. Means it is happening with the superior, it will happening with the inferior and middle as well. This 40% fibers are jumping up.
Sir, T1 is supplying both superior, inferior and middle.
No. T1 is not supplying. Yes, T1 is supplying the superior more. T2, T3, T4, they are supplying middle and inferior. T1 is very, very important for superior. Though it is supplying some down also, but T1 is very, very important. If T1 damage is there, you see that what is happening. This is the huge bundle. How much? Pre-post. This postganglionic fibers target is your face. If it's your face now, here they are actually coming down here. You see, when they are coming down here, when the fibers were going outside here, along with the nerves, already nerves are present. So jumping upon the nerves and reach your areas. But when the fibers were coming to the heart, was there any nerve which was going to the heart, or they have to make their own nerve now? Their own nerve. Pre or post? Post here. And when they are rising up here, 40 more now, 40% now?
Yes.
Or 40 postganglionic, they are going here. This time they don't make their own nerves. They say that okay, somebody should actually carry us to your face. Not just face, brain also. Not just brain, any viscera, whatever is present. Because this is the only source. Not just this, second and third also. These sources will go higher here. Where? To the face. I told you that sympathetic nervous system is spreading all over the body. This also. So they will target the face, and they are thinking that who is going to the face. There are 3 things which are actually connecting the down portions with the face here. Like for example, veins are connecting also. But the veins are going or returning? Nerves are also connecting the brain with the down portions here. But the nerves are going or returning? Because they are coming from our cranial nerves. So only one thing is there which is going up, and that is the arteries. And these are the arteries. So which transport is more suitable for carrying the things from below upward? Arteries. So this bundle in fact will run upon the arteries. Understand? Usually nerves run with the nerves. But these are actually, you say that these are kind of a nerve, they will not see that anything free, means free of cost, they will write upon. And this time they will not see that it is a nerve and nerve should run upon with the nerve. Okay, no problem. Something is going and we will write upon this. So that means they will in fact make here plexus. Periarterial plexus. They will be looking visibly over the arteries. And over the artery means the arteries which will be rising up. I will show you that the 3 arteries are going up and 3 bundles are going. One bundle is going big bundle, big artery, carotid. Which carotid? Common carotid. And carotid is splitting into the 2 external internal. You will go along with that. Internal into the brain. Okay, go. Internal going into the brain, and brain is going actually the artery here through the eye. In the eye also, ophthalmic artery. Everywhere plexus will be there. Wherever the artery will go, the plexus will go. There will be no organ that will be actually left without innervation of sympathetic nerve, because blood is going actually reaching everywhere. This will give you idea that this head and neck has been supplied. And one idea that you should always keep in your mind, that above this level, always keep in your mind, but will not write this. Above this level, you don't have any sympathetic neuron cell body available. Means if you are going above that level, always be postganglionic, because there is nothing above that into which you will relay and he will become postganglionic. No, you have to be postganglionic. Means in your head and neck, whatever sympathetic fibers you will actually carry, or whatever sympathetic fibers you will identify, it must be postganglionic, because there is no single neuron being sympathetic being present outside in form of a postganglionic. Means every sympathetic neuron present in your face, in your brain, everywhere it is the postganglionic. Because the last is sympathetic cell body being postganglionic, though it is always the superior cerebellum. So that means your head supplied, your thorax supplied. As far as your now abdomen is concerned, now see another way to in fact form. This time what is happening? 4 already I have given. Now I am giving you the 5th. 5th will go into what? Into your 5th ganglion. So it should go to postganglionic fibers to what? 5th thoracic nerve. 6th will go to 6th everything. But what happens? 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, okay. Up to here. It's not just going into the corresponding ganglion, so that should be postganglionic fiber should be stimulated, so they should go to the spinal nerves, being anterior, posterior, being intercostals, being something here, okay. Not only this is only the work of just 20% fiber. 80% fibers, they are going into their corresponding ganglion. This is true. But which is corresponding ganglion? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 8 corresponding ganglion. I am giving just one example. They are going inside. They are going there. But this time, for the first time, they don't relay now. Just like here, they didn't relay, but they will rise up here to relay there. At least they relayed into the ganglion. But they will go into the corresponding ganglion. 20% they are doing the regular work, but the 80% they will just be passing out of it now. Pre or post?
Pre.
And when they are pre-ganglionic and coming out of it, and nobody is allowing them or nobody is offering them to be carried on their shoulders, they will have to make their own nerves now. And they will make their own nerves. They will have their now perineurum, etc. like that. You will call them the nerves. Now they are the real nerves, and this time they have been forced to form their nerve because nobody is actually giving them the lift. So this will be called as splanchnic nerves. And this is which fibers? 5 fibers. The 6 will do all the same. The 7 also, 8 also, 9 also, and all of them will form the single nerve. Single bundle, big bundle. You call them greater as splanchnic nerve. And then the next one will be 10th and 11th also same. Then the 12th also same. 3 nerves will actually be forming here. All of them postganglionic. All of them preganglionic, sorry. All of them they are preganglionic and they are forming here the bundles here. Passing through what? Passing through the diaphragm. because they have to leave the diaphragm. These are parts of the diaphragm now. They are part of thorax, but they are actually passing through them. Through them what? Diaphragm, and they are passing through crura of the diaphragm. Through the crura. How many of them? 6. 3 from the right crus, 3 from the left crus. But they are periganglionic. They have gone periganglionic, but you say this, they have gone through the ganglion, means they have chances that there will be offered some ganglion outside. Means some ganglion must be present outside. That's why they have actually ignored these ganglion. Until now, you haven't seen any preganglionic fibers which have ignored them. But this time, this is for the first time they have been ignored now. Ignored means you have some opportunity, means you have some other postganglionic scattered here and there. That's why you have ignored them. Because preganglionic should and will never be received by the effector organ. It should be the postganglionic language, they should go to the effector organ. But you are preganglionic. How you are going to your abdomen? You are going there to influence your smooth muscle and your glands here, but glands and smooth muscles will not obey you. It should be postganglionic, but where is the postganglionic? You have ignored again the postganglionic neurons, means you should have some other connection of postganglionic neurons other than this. Because they are lying parallel to this vertebral column, that's why this whole chain is called the paravertebral ganglion. But one which I am actually showing you, it is lying just in front of the aorta basically. Means the aorta is lying in front of vertebra or not. You call them pre-aortic or you can call them pre-vertebral ganglion. Pre-vertebral. Because they are just sleeping upon these ganglion collections which I am showing you, they are sleeping upon the aorta. Just over what? Over the aorta, over the vertebral column. That's why we call it pre-vertebral ganglion. They are lying there. That's why these 3 splanchnic nerves, they are gone into your abdomen. And they are telling you that we have the source to actually relay inside. That's why we have ignored them. And when you are relaying them inside, immediately after the pleura, just underneath the aorta, the earliest portion, and the earliest portion is giving you the artery outside here. Which one? Celiac artery. So on the 2 sides of celiac artery, 2 big ganglia are sitting there. Celiac ganglia. And the celiac ganglia will be putting here. So that means when I am actually showing you, because I am giving you like for example, these are the nerves. Okay, these are the nerves. For example, 3 nerves are actually coming out. So these 3 nerves we call them greater and lesser and least splanchnic nerves. I am showing you a little later, but you can consider they are actually lying here in the center. And in the center in front of the aorta is lying what? Ganglion. So ganglion is lying here like this. On 2 sides we have got 2 big ganglia. Here is the aorta. Which ganglia? Celiac ganglia. Now all these 3 should enter into them. And they relate to them also. Though the least is not relaying. Okay, consider least relaying also. All 3 relate to them. If all 3 relate to them, so if for example the postganglionic neurons which I am showing you here, and out of the postganglionic neurons, now they are emerging. If these postganglionic neurons, they are emerging here. If for example the postganglionic neurons, those postganglionic neurons which have been in fact supplied here by greater splanchnic nerve, their postganglionic neurons, they are emerging and they are surely will be big bundles obviously. Because their preganglionic supply is big also. And they are now wanting to in fact be carried to their organs. Which organs? The organs of in fact the foregut organs. They have already seen the software. Foregut organs are being supplied here by the branches of your celiac artery. So why not, if here the arrangement is to run upon the arteries to form the periarterial plexus, why not me also? So this time what I will say? I will go with the nerves, or I actually be making here perivertebral plexus, periarterial plexus to go here to the organs here. So to the organs I will actually go easy. So that means my but especially which one? The greater and to some extent less also. You see that what about the least? The problem, and I say greater not full, greater half only. You see that greater half means half greater bundle means half postganglionic neuron supplied by the greater splanchnic nerve. Where it will go? It will not go with the foregut arteries. Half will stay there. Okay, half will go there. About lesser, some will go, some will stay. About least, nothing will go. It will stay here. Means which postganglionic neurons have been actually distributed here to your foregut? greater splenic nerve half means not greater splenic nerve half. Greater splenic nerve fibers are full, half of which have stimulated the postganglionic neuron, they will go. Greater splenic nerve will not go. Okay, greater is the preganglionic. Greater preganglionic, it has stimulated 100 fibers, for example. So 50 will go, 50 will stay. Understand? 50 will stay. So that means it will be 50 stay. And lesser, like this here, 50 will go, 50 will stay. And least, all will stay. You said all will stay for what? Forget it has been supplied. So what is the problem? Problem is that prevertebrally from aorta is emerging actually a pair of arteries whose name is the renal arteries. And renal artery is a very special artery because it is actually carrying almost 21% of the total plasma flow, or we say blood flow is going to your two kidneys by means of the renal arteries. So renal arteries needs a separate transformer, you can say. Sometimes you see the flat as a separate transformer, and sometimes big houses as a separate transformer. Those smaller ones, the least ones okay, but at least they have got 50 kV separate because your load is too big. That's why this is least one. I will not actually ask the least splenic nerve to in fact relay into the celiac ganglia. Mark it, see, that's very important to understand. I have relayed my least splenic nerve in the cell body collection within the celiac. This is true or not? And from here the postganglionic fibers are emerging or not? Where these postganglionic fibers I should actually carry? To the renal artery. Why not I carry this preganglionic, postganglionic neurons collection and detach it from the celiac ganglia, and I will carry it here to the what? To the renal arteries, and from here I should actually get the postganglionic fibers. Means my total, now I can mention anatomically that my least splenic nerve passes through the celiac ganglia but will fail to relay there, and now it has gone here into the renal side in front of the renal artery. It is relaying there into another ganglion that is called renal ganglion. Which renal ganglion basically is an offshoot of celiac ganglion. But this time we will call it celiac ganglion and call it renal ganglion. Renal ganglion. So you will actually relay here, and now your renal arteries are being innervated by your central nervous system. So your least splenic nerve finished or not? Finished. Bring up now your lesser splenic nerve half. Why I should actually stay like here? When it is being distributed like this, why not a piece of your celiac ganglion I should actually depress down here and relay now here and make another plexus, another ganglion. Not a ganglion as such. These ganglions are so crushed and so scattered here. That's why we call them plexuses rather than ganglion. So the upper ganglion was not a ganglion as such. You call them celiac plexus. This is not a renal ganglion. You call them renal plexus. You call them this one, which is part of the celiac, and now I am descending down here, depressing it down here up to little lower in front of superior mesenteric artery.
Sir, low battery show back.
Yeah.
Low battery.
Lecture
चल
recording
क्यों रही है?
हाँ, चल तो रही होगा।
चल तो रही है।
चलनी चाहिए।
चल नहीं
चल
है।
रही है।
ठीक है, लो काम से ध्यान रखना, चलती रहे। क्योंकि झेल चुके हैं हम लोग पहले। ठीक है, तो this is something that we call them the celiac. So downward here, a celiac ganglion से downward offshoot, okay. This time you call it okay, superior mesenteric plexus. And from here, superior mesenteric plexus. So what will happen? Postganglionic neurons from here, postganglionic bundles will start from here.
So 50% of greater splenic nerve will also be.
Yes, 50% is also waiting there. I will distribute it yet. Understand?
Sir,
So-
they are waiting as a preganglionic.
Surely, they are not waiting as preganglionic. They have already relayed into the postganglionic neurons, but postganglionic are waiting. Superior ganglion. This is your celiac. This is your superior as a greater splenic. Here lesser, okay. This is your lesser splenic. Understand? These are postganglionic or not? this half of the postganglionic, they will go to the foregut. But this half should go to the midgut. This half should go to the midgut. This is lesser. This half should go to midgut. But if it is going to the midgut, through which arteries? Superior mesenteric artery. But you are standing actually in front of the celiac. So why not actually take this whole piece and make it down here? A piece of the celiac has been actually dragged down here. So now you say that half of your lesser has entered into celiac or superior mesenteric plexus. So that the postganglionic fibers emerging out of the superior mesenteric plexus should run along with the branches of superior mesenteric to go to the midgut. Understand? Same is the case in your greater also. Greater, half of the fibers went to foregut. Remaining half, they should go to the suprarenal gland. You say, sir, if they are going to the suprarenal gland, and this is my suprarenal gland, for example, if they are going to the suprarenal gland, this will be postganglionic or this will be postganglionic. That means this is preganglionic, from here is post, then there will be the post. So why not I take the piece of my celiac and I will get it detached and actually position it in the center of the medulla. Just like my inferior mesenteric plexus. Now what you will say? Now you say my greater splenic nerve passes through the celiac ganglion. Half of the fibers do not relay there. They pass through and will finally relay into superior cerebellar, relay into the adrenal medulla. So my postganglionic neurons basically are lying within what? Adrenal medulla. They are postganglionic neurons. This is itself a notified ganglion. Difference only is that every postganglionic neurons at their terminals will have the neurotransmitters to directly affect the organ, but in the adrenal medulla they are released into the blood to circulate all over the body. When they are released to circulate all over in the body through the blood, will they be neurotransmitters or neurohormone? That's why adrenaline or adrenaline is actually studied in hormones also, endocrines also. Because they are actually endocrine system. Neurohormones you call them. And if this is actually present like this, then you should actually supply your inferior mesenteric plexus also. But just supply inferior mesenteric means supply your hindgut and you supply the pelvic organs also. So you should supply these also. Inshallah, we will discuss these in tomorrow's class. And along with that, because all you have the knowledge, very easily you can put your parasympathetic, because it's not too wide spread system. This is too narrow. It will never be present outside in your limbs and surface. It will be always be present within your cavities. You can live without sympathetic, but you can't live without parasympathetic. It is so confined system, but it is so vital. Because sympathetic system is just emergency system. You don't impose emergency on yourself. You can live. But you cannot actually avoid the normal resting conditions. You can't actually live without that. Without parasympathetic, you can't live. But without sympathetic, you can live. And sympathetic is totally, you see that widespread, right? Every limb, resistance, everything. But parasympathetic nervous system is very much confined. It's never present in your surface, never present in your limbs at all. It's present only in the cavities. And we will tell you the same sympathetic is, the same parasympathetic will use your central nervous system, will use your peripheral also. It will use central nervous systems in some regions only, and it will use parasympathetic, peripheral nervous systems in some areas also. Means it is present in the brainstem, so it will be using peripherally, it will be using cranial nerves. How much depends in how many houses it is revealed. But all these parasympathetic which are living inside and they are emerging from your brainstem, just one bundle will go down here, otherwise all three bundles will stay here in your face region. They will never come down. And who comes down? Let us know. We will discuss each other.
Sir, what is the need of the celiac plexus and other plexus?